this is where we are, just to kind of give you a framework, right? And so the platform from it is all built on based on roles and permissions, and so what people see, what they see, depends on their roles and permissions. So on obviously the left side here, you see a full social aspect of the platform, which has full gamification built into the platform. So the social recognition, social badging, that's all tied into the performance model, into the platform that we discussed the last time around competencies and goals that can be driven through it. And then each one of these is defined as what we define as a widget. And the widgets can be, a metric, a trend, eventually a descriptive or predictive analytic. And so, everybody has the ability to lay out their look and feel to their design of the page of what they want it to look like. They can go into the widget library, and this is where they would see a whole host of different widgets that they can start to go out and build to. They can design the look and feel, change it, copy dashboards, build dashboards, whatever they want to do. Within it, they have kind of the My Profile page where, for every kind of use case, different companies have different requirements. This could be act as an employee self-service, or it could be a single source of what, truly all the data that sits in an HRIS is really meant to do to help an employee understand what's going on. So they can go to one single place and see their summary, to connecting their social feeds, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, if they're assigned to different projects and teams, what their project team and performance is, their performance data, comp, benefits, and any other type of data that was sucked in from those systems. You can have then pre-built dashboards that are designed that they can drill up and drill down into it. So from a usability, they can just click on something, or they can hover over it, or they can drill into a widget, and it starts to take them further to allow the data to answer a story for them. They can have crop shots of multiple widgets that they want to look at, and they can do dimensional analysis within a widget. So they can start to slice and dice the data to answer different questions, or have different things such as pending review. So from an analysis perspective, it's pretty open-ended. They can then get from going more to trending data into what we give an example. We talked about a predictive analytics. So here, employees at risk is an example of our approach to how we're addressing predictive analytics, where somebody only needs to be able to look at a couple in areas such as impact, performance, impact, and risk, and can look at something and see, for example, Jerry here is a 5 performer, drill into it, and then get the predictive reasoning behind why Jerry's at risk, and then potentially to even drill in further, that then would give more detail in these, and this is broken right now from a development, I apologize, Tom, but would lead to a whole host of other examples of widgets that would ultimately drive to what the factors were behind that individual, what was making up the predictive reasoning. They can have full performance dashboards that they can drill into, and then within it they can see individual performance data. So back to it, an individual can see kind of all their performance and use cases, and this is all real time that can be tied back to their goals or objectives or competencies into the performance perspective and how they're trending around those different components. All the game components.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about the game.
Yep. So all of these badges here can then are all built into the performance process. So you can build the games into it. So you can, in this example of performance management, if these were, for this individual, some of their objectives or competencies that they need to focus on, you could then build games or that they potentially earn badges, or they have missions that they have to work through in the game mechanisms that actually drive and move these, so they see where they are relative. It's fully built into the technology, so they see where they are relative to their overall performance goals and objectives real time. And then anybody within the platform, based on their roles and permissions, can set up different games. So they can drive games if I'm a manager for my team, or if I'm the head of HR, I could build them around the overall goals or objectives or the competencies, and I'll demonstrate that. So then, as we shared the last time, we have the traditional kind of, I'll say, review process that can be built into it from the performance management process. So you have your performance reviews, and then ultimately, they can be the company goals, and they can see where they are and relative to the competency, and all those competencies show and share relative back to building and linking a badge. In addition to that, all of this performance ties back into here, where in the social aspect, somebody can do feedback, which in essence is like an impromptu 360. If you think of the kind of traditional 360, where they can go out and get feedback from peers, or build get reputation, or things like LinkedIn do recommendations. All of those things go back when you're looking at somebody's talent profile that eventually could be measured to start to define skills or different areas of strengths or potential gaps to it that could be tied or measured. In addition, we've built in a full projects and team and collaboration from an analytics perspective, as well as all the functionality that kind of goes around it. And what we see, this is a critical component to what we call as a missing link in the traditional performance management cycle. Because in traditional performance management today, it's just being captured in the data, but after the manager and the goals are cascaded down and the objectives and competencies are agreed upon between the manager and the employee, what invariably happens is that there's a whole host of kind of major fire drills or projects that end up happening in the organization, and that's never captured into the overall employee's performance. And then any kind of analytics around the overall effectiveness of those projects, from time consumption to overall performance or adoption around them, is never captured or tracked.
Tom, from your experience and research, like what's your thoughts in and around that area?
I guess just around the area of uncaptured modifications to performance goals.
Right.
Yeah, well, if the process itself is annual or semi-annual, and there's lots that happens in between that isn't captured, that's dynamic, that impacts on the resources and the time available to accomplish the goals that were originally set. So you're saying this adjusts the other goals in real time, or?
Right. So all of this is built into, if somebody was using our performance module, or leveraging a success factors, this could be talking back and pushing data back into their system, or if they were leveraging it, it would be adopting on the fly. So if somebody, for example,